you ever had a dream?
I've got a dream!
I don't mean the dreams about like what I'm gonna do someday, what I'm gonna become, I'm gonna get married, bleh. I mean the cool dreams that happen in your head when you're asleep. Oh, you have? Okay, that's cool. No, I don't want to hear about it. Shut up. Have you ever had a lucid dream? I know a lot of people that have. I started having lucid dreams as a child. So yeah, if you don't know what lucid dreaming is, here's the definition. Or you could watch Inception. What would happen is I would realize it was a dream for whatever reason, then I would start trying to figure out what time of year it was. In the dream, I would guess that it's October, but in reality it was February, so I was usually very off. As I got older, I realized it was because of these tip-offs that I would have, and you would think it would be something like, oh my god, that person's flying, or something really fantastical, but it was usually something that would never happen in real life because it was specific to me. A lot of times I would become lucid when I was in a situation where I was uncharacteristically unprepared. We all have times when we're a little unprepared, but I would be in a situation that in real life I would care about and be very prepared for, like doing a show or a musical, and I wouldn't know my lines, I wouldn't know what's going on, and then suddenly I'd be freaking out and I'd be like, wait, this would never happen in real life because I care too much. But if you're a theater kid, you know, you've had those dreams. And usually it's after the show. I never had dreams leading up to the show. It was always later. I'd have a dream where the director was like, I know it's been a year since we've done this play, but we have to do it again. We have to do it again and we don't get to rehearse. Also, if you're my sister and you're watching this video, click off. Click off right now because I know you hate hearing about people's dreams, especially mine. She specifically hates hearing about other people's dreams because she's like, it's nonsense, it doesn't make sense, it takes too long, whereas I enjoy it. So sis, get off the video. I'm gonna go through my 5 favorite and weirdest lucid dreams that I've ever had, the ones that stick out in my mind. As of late, I've had them far more often, but back in the day, just every once in a while, it would happen. So the first one I call the Freddy Krueger dream. Setting the scene. I'm in a skyscraper. It's me in there and Anne from Parks and Recreation. We are in the skyscraper. It's sort of like an apartment. I'm talking to Anne. I look out the window. We're high up. I turn back around. The lights are off and Anne is gone. So suddenly it dawns on me. Oh my god. I'm trapped in a Freddy Krueger dream. Or Freddy Krueger's in my dream. And I know, for whatever reason, that I have to open this closet over to the side, see him, shut it, and then the dream will end. I just know. I just know that's what has to happen. I don't know why. I go over to the closet, open it, he's not showing. I open it a bunch of times. So then I'm like, what do? I'm trapped in this dream basically forever, I guess. What I decide to do, I'm thinking, what is another way to end a dream? And I think, oh, you can't die in a dream. I go over to the window, I climbed out the window and I jumped off. And then I fell, I had that falling sensation, I think, and then right before I hit the ground, cut to black. I'm Triss from Divergent. I woke up and I said, I'm not Dauntless, I'm Divergent. Number 2 is a musical theater dream, as I've discussed before. So when I was a junior in high school, we did the show Anything Goes. It was a lot of fun. And I had a dream that I was in the green room. I had just used the restroom and I come out and I'm like trying to get my tights back on, get like the pieces of my costume back on, and I hear the, please turn off your cell phones, the show is about to start. And my character in it had to be on stage like when the lights went down right after that. If you have done a show, you know the cell phone announcement is like, we're going, the actors are in their spots. I was panicking and I was like, oh my god, wait, how did this, I'm not in my spot. And then I go, oh wait, I would never let this happen. And that's when it dawned on me. This was a dream. And that's always such a nice realization, because then all of the stress that I felt leading up to that point just like melted away. And I was like, oh, okay, there are no stakes in this situation. What I do is I go back out front, and I don't know if now, it felt like there was a time jump. I think we were supposed to be, we were all backstage, the curtain was closed, we were all just kind of hanging out backstage. I don't know if it was still before the show. I go up to my classmates and I start telling them like, hey, you know, we're dreaming right now. This isn't real. And they're like, right, yeah, sure. You sound crazy, just gaslighting me basically. I asked them, I was like, okay, well, if this is real, then what did we do earlier today? And one of my classmates goes, we went hunting. We went hunting. I said, does that sound like something we would do? We don't hunt. We're not hunters. We're at a high school right now. What happened in the end was that I realized in the dream that our director was causing us to rehearse in our dreams. He incepted us so we would rehearse more in our dreams. So then we all kind of rebelled against this idea of rehearsing in the dream. And I think we were like in the library, like jumping from bookcase to bookcase, like, we will not rehearse, something like that. It's interesting the different levels you can get to when you lucid dream. Like sometimes you know you're dreaming, but the context of what caused you to dream is just so off. I had this thing where I constantly believed that I might be in a shared dream, and I'll ask other people in the dream, like, you know, we're dreaming, right? Like, we're all dreaming. I don't realize it's just my dream. Maybe it's because I've watched Inception too many times and it's my favorite movie. Okay, number 3. So the first dream I talked about was probably in like middle school, early high school, I think I had it. Yeah, because it was around the time of the remake of Friday the 13th that they did. The Anything Goes one, high school theater, that was obviously in high school. This one was actually this year.
No way!
So this was one of the ones where I was like getting pretty good at lucid dreaming. I call this one the trust fall dream. And this one has a lot of convoluted, stupid crap in there that just adds nothing to the story, so I have streamlined it a little bit. I was with a group of people in a house, hanging out with this pop star who was played by Scarlett Johansson. So we were in this house all together, and what tipped me off was I thought I broke my iPad, and then I think I kind of realized I don't have an iPad in real life, and the iPad turned into a painting, and I was like, yeah, it's fake. So I got really upset, and I told them that if no one helped me wake up, I was gonna take the Mario toys that were in the center of the living room and steal them and bring them outside with me. So I did, I brought them outside. One of the guys from the group of friends, he follows me outside. I think in the dream it was like, I thought we were in another girl's mind. I thought we were all in another girl's mind, which was why I was pissed, and I wanted everybody to help me wake up because I felt like I was trapped. I didn't get that it was my dream. So then I asked the guy that follows me out, like, are you, a sentient member of her unconscious? And he's like, mm-hmm. So then I asked, what's your main job? Is there something that you do here? And he said, I mostly fight people for edibles. So then we come across this random guy, and I'm like, okay, let me test if he really does that. So I ask this random guy, you want drugs? You want drugs? And he says, yeah. So then I tell the guy, beat him up. He does, he beats him up. So finally I ask him, like, can you please wake me up? I want to get out of here. And at this point too, I kind of don't think it's gonna work because I sort of tried other things. I'd like kind of tried to will myself to wake up and it didn't work. So he's like, sure, I'll help you. And he tells me very mentalist hypnosis style. He goes, when I snap, you're going to wake up in a new studio. So I'm like, okay, so are you just sending me to another room of this dream? I am gonna wake up in a studio. That's cool. He snaps, and when he snaps, I just let myself fall back, like trust fall style. And as I fall back, suddenly it feels like it's slow motion falling. And then it, cuts to black, and I'm still falling. I didn't really feel like the falling sensation, but I could feel feel I was moving, and then I feel myself sort of settle into my sleeping body, and I start to feel like the sheets around me, almost as if like my whole body was numb and I was kind of coming back to it. Yeah, I started feeling the bed, and then I kind of started being able to wiggle my toes and stuff, and then I opened my eyes. It worked. I woke up in real life. So that was interesting because usually when I try to end a lucid dream, it ends and cuts to black, but that time it took me a second to realize what happened. I was like, that was the strangest thing ever. Strap in because it's about to get crazy. This is where teleportation comes in. Specifically in a lucid dream, you can change locations. That was a skill I wanted to work on. I already flew a lot in dreams, even before I lucid dreamed, and that was like the first thing I would do. One thing I kept trying to think of throughout the day and remind myself that I wanted to do was to open a door and decide what would be on the other side of the door. So the first time I did this, it was me and my mom in the dream, and we were like upstairs in some room, and I realized I was dreaming, so then I kind of, jumped and floated, and then I did a bunch of flips, some front flips, and then I thought to myself, oh my gosh, there's so many doors. So I went up to one of the doors and I was gonna open it, and then I was like, wait, I don't even need to open it, I can just pass right through it. So I decided I wanted to go to space. Why I would choose that, I don't know, because I'm terrified of space. I passed through the door, platform 9 3/4 style. On the other side, it was so interesting. It was space, it looked like space, but at the same time, I knew it was my brain's recreation of what I thought space would look like. So it kind of looked a little bit like a Disney ride where they use forced perspective to like make things look bigger. It looked like there was a bottom to it. It looked like a large room with black walls and starlights, because there were stars all around. Lately, when I've been lucid dreaming, I can kind of see the fakeness. A lot of times it looks like I'm on a set where things just don't look quite right, and that's so fascinating to me. It also reminds me of the similarities between a dream and AI images, where you look at it and you're like, something's off. Yeah, so that was the first time that I used teleportation.
With the teleportation helmet?
This next one is a doozy. This is like my sister, this is her nightmare dream because it's long. But again, there was a lot of sort of frivolous details in this one that I cut out to kind of streamline it. This actually, I wrote this down in my notes app, as I do a lot of them. I had this dream the night of May 7th of this year. And the next day I woke up like, oh my God, because it was just the longest, most detailed lucid dream I had ever had in my life. I felt so accomplished afterward. I knew from the very beginning of it that I was in a dream. There was no realization, no waking up moment. And it started as the classic, you're back in middle school, but also some classmates from high school are here, and also classmates from college are here, but you all have to go back to middle school. So I was looking around, a lot of my friends from the past were there, and this older woman comes up to me, and like country music starts playing, and she's like, come on. We're in the equivalent, it looked like we were in a mall food court, but in like desks, I think. I don't know, it was stupid. You know how in your dream, your brain's like, okay, we have to be in a classroom. This is what a classroom looks like, right? That's right? This older woman pulls me up onto this table with her and starts trying to do like country line dancing with me, or partner country dancing. And I just did not want any part of it. So I literally just I bow and I go, I don't like country. I sang it because I'm polite. Yeah, so then another thing that was going on was apparently it was Halloween. Our teacher was celebrating Halloween, and I kind of turned around to the class and I was like, why is it Halloween? It's not Halloween where I'm from, idiots. And then I kept turning around and being like, it would suck to actually be back in middle school, because I thought it was so cool because I knew it was fake. I knew we were in a dream, and I was like, if this was real, that would suck. Then the location totally switches. I still know that I'm dreaming, but we're in this like massive sci-fi looking building with just huge walls of windows, walls of massive windows. It almost looks like a massive spaceship in a way, but too big. And then you look outside and there's also this big sci-fi city. The closest thing I can compare it to is like the Kree homeworld from Captain Marvel. But at the same time, I know that it's supposed to be like where I'm from. It's supposed to be the city I currently live in. And it's populated like a city, like there's a bunch of people walking around, it's very crowded. I start stopping people and being like, do you know that we're dreaming right now? Because that's always my first move. One guy in particular, I stop and I ask him like, are you like part of my subconscious? Because I knew it was my dream this time. I said, are you part of my subconscious or are you another person who's sharing the dream? And he says he's not sure, but then he also says like he thinks that in real life we're from the same city. I think I knew more that the other people in the dream weren't real, but I still was like, I want to test it. I also could tell that I was far more comfortable here because sometimes when I would lucid dream, it sort of feels like once you realize you're dreaming, there's almost this timer that starts and you only have a certain amount of time before the dream ends. Here, I just knew I was like, I'm here. I'm gonna walk around and do whatever I want. So I get a group of my friends together and I bring them to another room with the goal of proving that we are in a fake world, it's not real, it's a dream. So I go to a door and I say, when I open this door, there will be snowy mountains behind it. Open the door, what do you know? There's snowy mountains behind it. They also look a little off, almost as if they're like claymation mountains, like it's from the Rudolph movie. And then I look down and there's blood on the snow. And I'm like, why is there blood on the snow? So then I look around me at the building and all of these massive windows that are on the building, the background has changed from that sci-fi city to snow caps. So then I'm just looking around, I'm in awe of how I guess opening this one door changed the location of the entire dream, because that wasn't really like my intention. I just wanted this one door to be a portal, but then the whole dream reacted to it. So then after that it gets a little convoluted, but I basically keep walking around the building and thinking about like, wow, I'm spending so much time here. It hasn't ended like the dreams usually do. And this time walking around, I was just looking around really aware of the fact that, as I've said before, it really just feels like I'm in a really realistic set. Almost like if you walked up to a wall and shoved it, you'd realize it was a 2D cardboard wall, like from an old Hollywood movie. So at this point, there's some kind of mystery going on, and I'm like trying to eavesdrop the other members of the dream. At one point, I'm wearing like a Santa Claus style power suit, and I'm also the mayor. And then me and Channing Tatum are having some light banter between the two of us. So then I'm with a random guy, and we go up to this part of the building where it's like open, and you can see, the snow is right there. So I go up to touch the snow because I want to tell, how real does it feel? It felt very real. Like it was very cold, icy. And then the guy that I'm with like runs out into the snow. And I'm like, wait, come back. Because out there, it's Canada. In the dream, I had surmised, I guess, that inside of the building, it was still like my hometown. Then outside of the building was we had sort of teleported to Canada. But inside the building, it was still my home city. So I don't know how that works. I was like, if you get trapped outside, you get trapped in Canada. I look outside and I see Donald Trump, but with long hair, like running around like a Yeti, literally Yeti style, like booking it. And I was like, what? And my first thought upon seeing that was, why did this have to get political? That one was one of my favorite lucid dreams I've had. If you have never tried it before, I highly recommend, because you kind of get to experience fantastical things that you would never get to experience in real life. It almost feels like you kind of got to experience having superpowers. Thank you so much for listening to these insane stories. I love dreams and I love hearing about dreams other people have had. So if you have an insane dream story, please put it in the comments below. I would love to read it. If I get enough of them, maybe I'll do a video talking about your dreams. Thank you so much for watching this video, especially if you made it all the way to the end. I appreciate you hanging out. Please like and subscribe and share, and I will see you on the next one. Bye!